Hello everyone, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. My name is Jason and it's Table Talk. Yes, hello, welcome to this week's Table Talk. If you're new to Table Talk, then in this slot we talk about what's been going on in the week, what's coming up, all of that sort of stuff, what the plan is, and then just some general chit-chat, gossip, all sorts of stuff. And in a minute we'll start off with what's been happening with my week. But first of all, a massive warm welcome to the nearly 300 new subscribers in the last month. Thank you very much. I continue, it's really interesting time of year, but I continue to have great channel growth every month. And I've been booking some trends over the last 6 months. Some people saw quite a drop and on their social media growth, YouTube channel growth over the winter, which is usually when you get quite busy, because it's sort of, for some people at least, it's a winter hobby. Once the sun comes back out, people start going out and doing house maintenance and DIY and going on holiday and doing things with the family, and modelling is just something they do when they can't go out. I'm not one of those. I model all year and see if I can fit everyone else in around it, to be quite honest. That's not quite as true as I'd like it to be. But I managed to actually increase my growth rate over the winter. I know why that is. And continue to be adding more subscribers than I was doing a little while ago. So if I think about 12 months ago, my average rate of subscriptions was about 190 a month, and I'm somewhere between 260 and 300 a month at the moment. So that's fabulous news. And I've done a lot of thinking about the channel over the last few months, because we did membership, and this week we had some new members, and that took us over the threshold of 50 members. So currently there are 51 members of the channel, paid members of the channel. Not everyone's in the social group yet. We'll talk about that later on, I think. But, you know, that's a huge achievement for me. I wasn't expecting to get more than a dozen or so, and maybe one would join every now and then. And when I decided to do membership, it was a means to an end for having a Facebook page, and for some people to get more out of the channel and get closer to those people that really want to experience model kit stuff a little bit closer than just through the videos and comments. And that's worked well. Thinking about it, it depends on what sort of YouTube creator you want to be and the reason for doing this. So, you know, it's interesting. My partner, as many of you know, works at a private school for children with special needs. So these are children that can't go into the usual state school program, because it wouldn't work for them, and they need one-on-one, or quite often two-on-one support through their learning. And, you know, For some of them, going to school is great because it's preferable to being at home, and you know, there's some heart-wrenching stories that I hear from time to time, and it's a difficult job for the people that work there for all sorts of reasons, and it's difficult for the children that are there for all sorts of reasons. And I gotta say, I'm really proud that my partner works there, and I've almost forgotten what my tangent was for that. But one thing that a lot of the kids there say to her is they do this thing as they're getting towards the age to leave primary school and go to high school. They start talking about what would you like to do in your life, you know, talk about careers and that sort of stuff. And for some of them, it's very much about putting options in their mind other than crime, which some of them are clearly going in that direction. And a lot of them say they want to be a YouTuber. So they see YouTubing as not necessarily being glamorous so much, but as an easy option. You know, I'm going to sit in front of a camera, I'm going to play games, people are going to watch me play games, and I'm going to earn money. Yeah, no. But some people do start a channel to earn money, and when you think about how YouTube supports the creator, it does all these things for earning money, and membership is in the category of earn. So membership is something YouTube created to allow content creators to earn more money. It's nonsense though. It is nonsense, because 20%, typically 20% of the people watching my videos that come out are actually subscribers. Yeah, a fraction of a percent of my subscribers are members. So when you've got membership, when you're doing membership for a channel, you're only talking to a fraction of the people, and your revenue from your channel comes from the number of people watching your videos primarily. So 80% of the revenue I get from adverts is people who are not subscribers watching the videos. So the videos come along, they're interested in it, or they're searching for a subject and they've found your video, that type of thing. So if 80% of my revenue from advertising that comes into the channel is from people who are non-subscribers, then the more specific you get, the less revenue you're getting. So members, you know, are going to see everything. People that join membership are largely people that were donating to the channel anyway, not all of them, but most of them were donating to the channel on an occasional ad hoc basis anyway. So I'm not getting particularly more revenue, I'm just getting the revenue in a different manner. So, and you'd argue actually I'm getting less revenue because people used to donate to PayPal, so I got 100% of that, whereas I only get about 50% of the subscription membership from YouTube. It's not an exact 50-50, it's something like 51% I get, I don't know. So you get this revenue, but most of my revenue comes from people who aren't members. So there are some channels out there, and I have membership to one channel, and I pay for the membership because what they've done is lots of things that I would want to see are for members only. And actually, that's reducing the growth of your channel. So if you want to do YouTube to make money, you shouldn't actually do membership. You should make all your videos free so that everyone can watch them, because 80% of your revenue is coming from people finding your videos. So if you do membership and go, right, I'm going to do this whole swathe of videos that are members only, what you're going to do is you're going to bring in one or two people who are going to subscribe and pay a fee, but the vast majority of the people that would have watched your video won't be able to. So you actually reduce your income. It's counterintuitive to do membership. So that is why all of my videos will remain free to everyone, and I won't be doing member only videos on a permanent basis. I may do from time to time some videos which are early access for the members. Now the reason why I'm saying all this is because we're going to talk about stash ads later on, and this is going to be relevant. So I might do some videos which are for members only, but they will then get released to everyone. And we'll talk, there's a specific reason why we're going to do that. But that's why you're not seeing anything specific for the members. Membership is all about the social group. And I've got 50 people in the social group. It's a really nice group. People are starting to share their builds now that we're getting going on the classic group build. We'll be talking about that later on as well. So all of that was stuff I wasn't intending to say. So we went off on a tangent right from the start. But it is warming you up to getting an understanding of why I'm going to say some things about some of the stuff that you can see here. So I will remain free for everyone to view, and members will get the benefit of all sorts of stuff from the social group. I think one of the main benefits for people who I've introduced to wooden ship modelling this year is the ability to ask questions, share photographs, and get support, priority support as well. So if you're a member and you leave a comment in a video, I go out of the way to answer that. Now right now I'm really behind on my emails and I'm really behind on my comments because I'm getting lots of comments at the moment. But if you're a member, you have a little coloured star. The colour changes depending on how long you've been a member, but I know that you're a member and therefore I will prioritise answering those messages. But I am a bit behind. 1 or 2 people have been emailing me. I'm a bit behind on that. And what I'm going to do is, I was asked a question and I have been meaning to reply by email, but haven't been able to get to it. So while we're talking about membership and revenue, let's just talk about merchandise very, very quickly. So I've seen the email asking for a bit of support on how to access merchandise. So if you're interested in merchandise and you're watching on a laptop, underneath the video you'll see a little banner which has some of my products on, which is usually an apron, a cup, a t-shirt, a hoodie, could be a sticker or any combination. If you click on that banner, it will take you to my shop that has all of my merchandise in. Now I have 2 streams of merchandise currently. I have what I call classic logo, which is just the model kit stuff logo on a black background, and then I have the social group banner that you can see here, and that's on a range of different things. Now the merchandise shop is a German company. The products are high quality in the main. I'll touch about cups in a minute, which I've had a problem with and I'm a bit annoyed about, but anyway, it's high quality in the main, but when you go into there it opens up onto all sorts of other stuff that you can buy. So not just the 4 things that are in the banner. You can change the colour of the t-shirt, so you don't have to have black, you don't have to have the colour shown in the banner. You've got all sorts of different colours you can select. You can scale this, so you don't have to have it this size. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, you can change its location. You can do all of that in the shop. So the stickers are vinyl stickers, they're really good quality. So they'll go on your cutting mat if that's what you want to do, or your drawers, or whatever you want to do with them. The cups, let me just show you because I have one of them. The cups I do 2 types of, and this is the coloured cup, and again you can change the colour. And I should have scaled that up because you can't really see it. It does say model kit stuff on there. But you'll also notice it's got a scratch. It's got a scratch. So I've been bashed around in the dishwasher probably, and it's getting scratches. So I'm a bit cross about that. So I might take these cups off. The camper mug, that's a brilliant cup, and because it's enamelled, it's a lot stronger. And in your workspace, you drop that on the floor, you're not breaking it, so it'll last forever. And it's bigger, so you get a bigger mug of tea. All good. There's all sorts of other things like bags and stuff like that that I haven't selected, but the shop has put in. Mouse mats. I haven't decided to do a model kit stuff mouse mat, but you can get them. So do have a look if you're interested, and do mess around with the colours and badge positioning so it suits your needs. Now, I get a percentage of that revenue because the German company that's doing it, firstly, you've got to pay for the cost of the t-shirt, pay for the cost of the printing, and then they've got to make some money. Then you've got the cost of shipping, and then I get a donation as well. So I think the donation for a t-shirt that I get is about £7. For a hoodie I get about £12. So, you know, I think the hoodies, one of the hoodies, I think the more expensive one, the dual colour one that you've seen me wear on the channel, I think that's about £37. It's amazing quality, it's a great quality garment, but I get £12 of that. The rest of it is going to other people. So do have a look, click on the banner, that should open it up. If you're on a mobile device or a tablet, you might have to go onto a laptop to do that. What I am going to do is in my text underneath this video, so if you expand the text, you get the 10% discount for tools. You get the link to the Gaahleri website and my 10% discount code for Gaahleri airbrushes, all underneath there. You get the link to join the membership if you want. I will start, if I remember, I'll do it this week. I'll start adding the link to the merchandise as well, so it's easier to access that. So yeah, I know one or two people would like to get a t-shirt or a sticker or bits and pieces like that, and like I say, I was asked the question this week about how to access it. So it's a strange thing, and I've not got control of this, but YouTube, how they present their page when you're on a mobile device is quite different than when you're on a laptop or a computer, and you have less functionality. So merchandise isn't as easy to see, and also the join button disappears. So yeah, you're best having a look on a laptop. You know, if you want to watch your video on a mobile device, that's fine, but then go onto a laptop if you want to do something else. Right, so there you go. That's how to look at merchandise, and don't feel that you're limited to the blacks and whites that you see there. You can change all sorts of colours. I've also got ladies cut garments in there as well, so ladies cut t-shirts and hoodies. So you know, it's not a I do have subscribers that are women, a small percent, so I have catered for you guys as well. Right, there you go. So let's get on with the show proper. This week I got new eyes, so I'm really pleased with these. I wasn't particularly happy with my last lot of glasses, so I need reading glasses, and my eyes started deteriorating in my late 40s, and the opticians told me that that's sort of normal for my age and should stop at around 60. So I hadn't needed to wear glasses up until then, but when I look back at my family, my dad has worn glasses since his early 40s. My grandfather, as long as I can remember, wore glasses, and I knew him from his mid-50s. So, you know, it's quite common in the family that we need reading glasses. And what was interesting was when I first started needing glasses, reading glasses. There was something you put on when you needed to read. And at the time I had a Toyota Prius, and the dashboard is offset in the middle, so it's a little bit further away, and I could use that fine. And when I changed to my current car, which is a Corolla, the dials are back behind the steering wheel like on a traditional car, and they're much closer. I couldn't see them. So my last pair of glasses, I got varifocals. Now I have no issues with my distance vision at all, but I couldn't see it. It was fuzzy, so I then had to wear my reading glasses, but have them perched on the end of my nose so I could see over for looking through the windscreen. So I went for varifocals. I struggled with the varifocals when using the computer because the distance was neither long distance or reading distance. So I'm sort of putting reading glasses on to use that and trying to get closer and adjust distances and all that. Anyway, I've gone for slightly more expensive ones this time, digital varifocals. So that allows me, I basically have 3 viewing windows, not that I can particularly see them. So I have distance built in to the top part of the lens. I have a medium distance in the middle, and then I have reading at the bottom, which means I can look forward and drop my eyes and read. But it also means that if I've got my phone, if I'm out walking, I can use the reading bit for that, and I can also get my VDU inside. So yeah, but a new development. So I got new glasses. I picked them up on Saturday. Really pleased with them. I haven't gone for the ones that go black automatically, whatever. I forgot what they're called now. I've gone for one ordinary pair and one pair of sunglasses because I had the reactor lights. I had the reactor light ones that's darken when you walk outside, and that was all well and good, but they don't work in the car. I thought they did at first, but actually what happened is they went light more slowly in the car, so I thought they were working, but they weren't. So I've gone for a sunglasses pair as well, so I can wear those in the car and drive in the car, because I do a fair amount of driving in the summer, and we get more sunshine than we ever used to in this country. So we don't get more warmth, we just get more sunlight. So handy. So got new glasses. Another development with my eyes though is I've started getting dry eyes. So they start feeling a bit grainy, particularly towards the end of the day. And like you've got something in your eye, and then they get a bit watery and what have you. So I read around it. The NHS website is great for this because they give you all the details without trying to sell you a product and without scaring you into thinking you've got some life-threatening condition. And basically it's another one of those many things listed under common for over 50s. So that's the second common for over 50s thing that I've well, I suppose it's the third if you consider adding in poor weight control, but I get migraines. I take medication for migraines, and when I get them now they're very mild, and they're well managed. That's another common for over 50s men. At least 1 in 3 over 50s men get migraines, and now I've started getting dry eyes, so another over 50s thing. So it's a bit like keeping a classic car. The longer you keep the vehicle, the more things you need to do to maintain it, and we're now starting to enter into the personal maintenance thing, whereas I didn't worry about it even like 10 years ago. Didn't worry about what condition I was in. I just got up, did my day and went to bed. Now I have to get up and go through a routine and open boxes and put ointments on and all that sort of stuff. And you can see why retirement's a really important option. It's just so you can fit in going to the doctors and putting your ointments on. I mean, anyway, enough of that. We're all fit as a fiddle, really. Just a little bit creaky round the edges. So let's get on with the show, and let's start with what we got up to last week. So we kicked off Monday with first impressions, and we looked at the Takom Weasel, the Antarctic version that came out at the back end of 2024. It was like the last, it was in the last two models I got delivered right at the end of the year. And on the face of it, it looks like a really, really nice kit. The moulding is lovely, but you've got no paint instructions. And so, you know, with Takom kits, it's always buyers beware. I do have a really, really nice King Tiger from Takom with full interior, which has paint instructions that were done by MIG, including all the interior. And it's a really special model. And actually, MIG have just re-released it, I've noticed. Not MIG, Takom have just re-released it. And if you see it, get it, because it's a beautiful, beautiful kit. But I'm also told that Weasel is a pig to build. I think it was the wheels particularly, it was highlighted to me. It's very, very, by one of my members, it's very, very difficult to build, and it's got a bit of a reputation. So buyer beware. Though it is beautiful and it's a bit quirky, so I needed to have it. So yeah, we'll build that at some point. When that will be, who knows. I'll be trying to sell some more model kits this week and make some space for some more. Anyway, moving on. So that was Monday. I thought that was a really nice kit on face value, but it is a first impression. So, you know, I can't tell you truly what the kit's like until I've built it. All I can do in a first impression is say, yeah, you know what, they've given us moulding that's good and decals that are good and paint and instructions that are good, and you shouldn't have a problem, or not, as the case may be. But that was how we started Monday off. Wednesday we had Sherborne Part 13, and one of the things in there was about chemically blackening thing. Some would argue not really an absolute beginner's process, but I would disagree. It's very easy to do. It's quicker than painting. The trouble with painting things like brass parts is the paint can flake off. It is difficult to get paint to permanently adhere, even using etch primers and what have you. So chemically blackening them is a nice, easy solution when most of the metalwork is black anyway on these period ships. So yeah, all very good. Some people asking some questions around there. I do make a point of saying the brand isn't important around burnishing liquid. Having said that, I've now had two people tell me that they're very unhappy with the AK burnishing liquid. Now obviously AK don't make it, they're buying it from someone else, so what the original source is I don't know, but I've now got two people complain about that. It's not very often I get complaints about products, but yeah, two people have picked up on the fact that it's not very good. So perhaps steer clear of the AK one, and partly steer clear from it because it's an expensive option. If you put in burnishing liquid in your search engine, then you can come up with all sorts of options, because burnishing metal isn't something that was invented for modelling. So there are some companies out there using burnishing liquids and what have you. So do have a shop around, because you can buy this stuff in 2 litre vats if you wish to. I'm actually going to change my brand. I'm about to buy some more because I'm about halfway through my ultimate burnishing liquid bottle, and I like to have some more in stock because I do quite a bit of it. It's great for metal tank tracks, for example, but they've not got it in stock at the moment, and that's one of the downsides of Ultimate. They quite often have out of stocks. It's to do with cash flow inevitably, and deciding what they're going to have in stock and what they're not. So that's not in stock at the moment. I need to get some more, so I'll probably buy a non-modelling specific brand and get a bigger bottle, and then I can always decant it into a smaller bottle if I want. So so don't worry about the brand, but maybe avoid AK. So we did some stuff on blackening, and then yesterday on the Friday we had another Sherborne, and we moved. Well, I think we move on to fittings. It's Thursday morning. I usually record this Wednesday. Didn't have time yesterday, so I'm recording it Thursday morning before I start work, and I've got 50 minutes to get this video finished. So yeah, we did another Sherborne on the Friday, and that's because I've not really got enough material on the other two builds, and we changed the builds for the classic kit group build last week. And as I explained in the video last week in the little text box, the reason why we've paused the Scharnhorst and the Junkers is because last time I did a group build, the B17, I finished the project I was on and then started the B17, and it meant that the build videos were going out beyond the end of the group build, and that wasn't ideal. So doing my builds at the start of the group build, I can get them out of the way, then bounce back onto what I was doing, and it just, you know, shuffles things up a little bit on the channel, which is always good for bringing in new people into the channel because they find things that they're interested in. So that segues really nicely into what's on my bench. So I'm progressing two builds on my bench. The first one is the Elizabethan for the classic kit group build. It's going together okay. The biggest challenge on this is that every part needs a good deal of cleanup. Nothing particularly fits, and most of the ejector pins are on visible surfaces. If there's an option of visible surfaces, not visible surfaces, they'll put it on the visible surface. So I've got to do some fancy filling because we've got all this wood texturing on the outside here, and we have that also on the inside here, and then we've got these great big recessed ejector pin marks. So I've got to recreate the wood grain, otherwise it looks odd. So I've been building up as much as I can before I do that, because I'll be using epoxy filler so that I can recreate the wood grain. So I will show that clearly in the build video, how we go about that. I want it to fit in. I've done this method before, it's tried, it's tested, I was happy with the results. So yeah, there we go. The fit is dreadful, but good for the time. But you have to build this up in layers. So there's all this back end. I can't build it up yet until I've got the cannons in. I can't progress the front until I've got the cannons in because they get sealed in. So there's all sorts of bits and pieces we're doing. You can't build it like a modern kit where you sort of have lots of where you can almost build the whole thing up before you start painting it. It's just not possible. And ships sort of dictate things are done slightly differently anyway, so it's a bit stop-start on that. So that's going really well. The other build that's going on at this moment in time is the Royal Barge, and we've progressed that a little bit. Let's get that in the light. So mainly we've worked on the base, so we're keeping the base the natural wood because it's nice, and we're going to get that all glossed up, and then so what I've done with the actual barge itself is I really wanted to just test what I had in my mind for the colours. So I've done a single coat of the red, and I'm really happy with that. And then I've done a single coat of the blue, and I'm really happy with that. So we're going to stick with those colours. So the colours that I thought would work well have worked well. We're going to paint the outside of the model first, and then we can work on the inside because we've got some wooden components. So we've done, I think it was new wood I used, was it? Oh, light wood by MIG, which is what I used as the base for the hull, because we're going to do wood effect hull. I'm not going to do a waterline or anything like that. So that is, we put the wood down and then we've sealed it with A-stand gloss. So we're ready to do the wood graining. But it does give me a little bit of a problem. And the problem is the rudder. The rudder is actually wood. So on the example that's done, there's a build on a forum which has used the colours that you see on the website when you're looking at the model. And the outside of the model is painted hull completely, so that makes it easy for the rudder, because you just paint it the colour of what you're doing under your waterline, what you're doing above the waterline. But because I'm doing wood effect, which is going to really make this pop in my mind, that poses me a problem with the rudder. Do I keep the rudder wood and it looks different? My gut feel is no. Do I paint it so that I can then paint it to look like wood? Seems wrong somehow. Or do I paint it a different colour which will tie in with the back here, which is going to be red, which I've seen on some others. So where you've got the crown at the back, have a red background, bring that down through the transom and through the rudder. Don't know. I'm sort of, none of them are a perfect solution is the real answer. So yeah, when you're coming to paint this, depending on how you decide to paint the outer hull, could really pose you a problem with the rudder. So I need to think about the rudder. It feels wrong to take something that is wood and then cover it in paint so that you can then paint it to look like wood. It does feel wrong, but what we might do is end up doing that so that it fits in, and the top of the rudder is red along with the transom, and yeah, I don't know, and then the tiller arm is the sort of the maroon colour. I don't know. Doing the whole thing red, I might do that first and then see whether I like it or not, and then if we don't like it, we can go over the red and do this and do the wood effect. And if we're doing the wood effect, then we've got to do the little black paper brackets in a different colour. So I've got to think about that. So when you do all the hull white, you're just doing the whole thing white. The wood's white, the metalwork's white, it's just all white. It's easy. So by deciding that we're going to have a wood effect on the outside, which will look awesome, I promise you, you've then got to think about, what am I going to do with the metalwork? So I could go black with the brackets, which seems a little understated for a Royal Admiral's barge. So I could go gold, which feels a little overstated for something that's immersed under the water. I don't know. I could do both. I could do black under the waterline, and I could do gold above the waterline. Or if I do above the waterline red, we can paint it in red on the actual rudder, but you wouldn't want the bracket carrying on red where it's wood. So my gut feel is probably a gloss black and have it on there black but shiny. I think will look the part the most. We'll see. I might have a ping moment as I'm doing it, but as of yet I haven't. But that's what we got up to on the bench. There's lots of other stuff I've done on this. I've got tons of parts that are in the process of being cleaned up and what have you, and all these turrets, the interior of the turrets has been painted so that the turrets can be built up. But yeah, yeah, it's coming along okay. I did, further reading the instructions, establish that the threads actually were never included in the model, and it told you that you can easily source threads, so it was never included, the threads. Anyway, happy with my progress, other than I've managed to get some of the black that I've painted on the inside to leach out onto the thread for the anchor ropes. So I probably need to replace the anchor ropes. These things happen. So yeah, there you go. That's what was on the bench. It's what will continue to be on the bench until this is done. So 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. This I'm dipping in and out of when I've got a moment. So paint drying on that, I'll varnish this. So I varnished that last night after I'd done the paint on that and couldn't go any further. So it's just, you know, chipping away at that so it gets done. It's a bit of an extra build. I envisage it'll end up being a build video 1 hour from start to finish. Most of it is going to be concentrating on decisions being made, and there's not much going to be in the way of technique, although I'm going to be staining some wood, we are going to be varnishing some wood, and we will focus in on painting the scroll work and making that pop out, because some people find that difficult, and it's because most people do it back to front. Most people do it back to front. I mean, I've got, well, let me show you. I got this book for, I think, my 9th, well, probably my 10th birthday, might have been Christmas. Anyway, it's by a French model maker. There's a lot of Hella kits in here, but there's also some Pocker as well, and some Tamiya and bits and pieces. And this was my almanac to becoming a modeler when I was a kid, and there's some stuff in here I've still never tried, never will. But as many of you know, because we've talked about it before, I was always inspired by that photograph there of, oh, what I want to build tall model ships, because that is stunning. That's a Hella kit, and I've now done a first impressions of it because I've got it in my stash. I bought the re-release version, and it's a huge model. But if you paint all the scroll work and raised stuff back to front, you'll end up with this. Can you see how the gold is painted on the top, and yet if you look around the side of the moulding, you've got the base colour? That's wrong. And it's wrong because they painted it back to front. They painted the blue first and then painted the gold. You never do that. You never do that. You always paint your top colour first and then paint your back colour. So much easier. So that's the basics, but I will show you how I've gone about it, because getting into some of this tiny scroll work, very tiny detail, and you need a steady hand, a good eye, and the appropriate tools to do the job. So I'll take you through that, because we're also doing the little boxes on the inside. I've done one, but these little gold boxes that you saw, they're actually going to have a blue background, and the scroll work will be gold, the frame will be gold, but the background will be blue. And it's looking good. We've got some touch up to do on the gold afterwards, but I knew that would be the case. But yeah, the gold looks really good against that maroon. So, and it looks suitably regal, which is what we're trying to achieve. So there you go. That's what's on the bench, and what's coming up on the bench until that is done, and then we'll be back on our other builds. Right, let's talk stash ads, shall we? Well, firstly, for those of you that like wooden modelling, we we've got a new little tool here. It's a chamfer tool. You can pick them up for 20 quid or so on eBay and Amazon and the like. Comes from China without instructions, so I did manage to find someone on YouTube who built one up on camera, thankfully, because I don't think I'd have worked it out otherwise. But yeah, we've got there, and it's for chamfering wood strips, particularly for when planking. I remain dubious as to how good this is going to be, but we've built it up. I've yet to test it, so when I do, we'll do I have filmed putting this together, so that there will be a tool review at some point, but I need to test it first. So next time I'm doing Sherborne, I'll use some of my spare planking strips on it and have a play, and then we can do a tool review. So that was the first thing that we've added. And then the other thing is this lot here. So I've had the intention, I talked about this last week, to build a Matilda 2 for quite some time. And this is obviously the Tamiya kit. It's getting on a little bit now, but reportedly still a very, very good kit. Comes with rubber band tracks, but also Lincoln length now. So yeah, and you get, I think you get the both the figures. You certainly get at least one figure. I had a quick look in the box and I spotted a figure in there. So yeah, I don't know if we get another paint version other than oh yeah, we do. We get another paint version. I'm less likely to do the desert one. I'm much more likely to do this one, because actually Matilda was not at her best in the desert. The sand clogged up the track. All this side protection, which was brilliant on the Western Front, was awful in the desert. So I don't want to show her off when she wasn't at her best. I'd quite like to do an Australian version. She sort of ended the war with the Australians, and they found a good use for her as an infantry support tank. So in close quarters fighting on some of those islands, she was really, really helpful as a tank. They found a good use for her when she'd sort of become end of life as a support tank for faster moving battlefields. After D-Day, you know, she'd become obsolescent, you'd argue, or even obsolete. But you know, Australians managed to find her. So I might look at aftermarket and do an Australian version, but if not, we'll do an earlier in the war version. But yeah, got that kit because I've been wanting to build it for a long time, and as I said, there is a members only group build coming up, and I'm going to be building that. But I also want to build a Matilda 1. I have built one before, Accurate Armour 1. The tracks were dreadful. This is the Matilda 1. So as I was buying this, and I bought this from the Bovington Tank Museum online, because their prices are as good as anyone's, and you're donating to the support of maintaining their tanks, including the only running Tiger 1 in the world. And they had this, and I ummed and ahed about it. It's a little bit pricey, £109.99, but then I'm not paying for it, the channel is, and I had the funds. But you could also get a version of it with the Tank Museum's guide to the Matilda infantry tank, and it wasn't much more. You were getting the book at a fraction of the price, effectively. So I went with that option because it gives me the whole history, lots of pictures, lots of research material. So everything Matilda from 1937 onwards, and right in the top corner we've got a Matilda 1 picture there. So I don't think they do much on the Matilda 1. It's really how the Matilda 2 develops from the Matilda 1. But the Matilda 1 is a stunningly beautiful tank and typifies the really exciting interwar period with tanks, when you're getting all sorts of stuff. Where, you know, you've got the Soviet Union with like 5 turrets on a tank, and you've got the Germans with 2 turrets on a tank. and you've got the British hardly bothering with a turret on a tank. So you've got the Americans who are really focused on mobility and suspension, whereas everybody else is, you know, not so fussed as long as it moves. So you've got all these different approaches, and it's, you know, the interwar period is really interesting when it comes to tanks. So this is the Sir John Cardens Vickers Armstrong Limited, Ellswick Works, Newcastle, England, A11 Matilda 1, 3D printed. 17 parts in total, plus a figure and a tarpaulin. And I've had a look, and members have already seen pictures. Really, really nice. So we'll be doing the first impressions a bit closer to the time when we build them. So I'm going to build them together. The build series is going to be called something like Matilda Both Barrels, or something like that, because we're doing 2 different tanks. Something like that. We'll find something fun to call it. But like I said at the start of the video, this will initially be a build series just for members. So it will come out, only members will see it. Whilst the group build is on, only members will see the build videos, and then the build videos will get released to the remaining subscribers after the group build is finished. So I thought that would be a nice little thing to do. I've got to think about it, exactly how I want to do it, because I don't know if I'm going to build the 2 kits at the same time or build one after the other. I've also got to think about what does that mean for content for the channel. If I'm building these and putting these out but only members can see it, does that mean I've still got time to put stuff out for the subscribers? Because if it doesn't, we'll have to rethink it. So we could do the Matilda 1 just for members and do that for subscribers, maybe. So all to think about, but I'd like to do one of them as a members only build and then release it. So at the very least, we'd perhaps do that as a members only build. Even if that means a short break for the subscribers. But what I want to do, once I get past the Junkers, we've got the Panzer 1, Tamiya Panzer 1 coming up. Then we've got the Eagle, which is mainly lots of white painting. Why have I decided to do that? But it's a big model, so it'll come together quite quickly. So that will be a fairly quick build. And then what I might do is I might get ahead on the group build, not follow my rules, start it early, just so you can see the videos going out. Possible. I'd prefer not to do that, but we'll see. And I'll be open and honest about that if that's what I do. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That is my stash ads for this week. And both of them are really, really, really nice kits. If you like your armour, we've got some armour stuff. I know it's been a very much floaty things orientated this year so far, but we have got sci-fi coming, we've got more aircraft coming, and we've got things with tracks on as well. So we are covering all the bases one way or another. So news, couple of interesting things I guess in the news. Those of you that have been enjoying my Junkers build, the float plane version is now available, now been released. So if it's not in your favourite online modelling store, it soon will be. So I know that's out. They're about to release a mid version as well, a mid-production version. Quite what the differences will be, I don't know. Aesthetically, from the outside, it doesn't look that much different. Maybe slightly longer wings. But you'll have a Polish version and what have you. So some European versions coming out of that. So I think Polish and Swiss and something else, don't remember. Also, Mini are bringing out some figures slightly different, which are really interesting. They're bringing out some British infantry figures, and the plastic figures, and their figures are quite good actually. I quite like their figures, but the heads are going to be resin. So that's a nice step up. So some of you will remember, going back to the early 90s, Verlinden used to put out loads and loads of resin heads. And I bought quite a few of them because I was swapping heads out on figures all the time. Because the resin heads had much crisper moulding, and there were so many different ranges of expressions and stuff. I've still got some of them left. Still have some Verlinden heads left. So I think that will be a real game changer for figures. And mini art once again starting to push the boundaries a little bit. So I'm really interested in that. We might get a set just for review on the channel. And then also imminent is the USS Ohio in 1:350 scale from Trumpeter, looking like it's going to be a nice kit. Yeah, quite an interesting looking ship as well. I think the Ohio's got a nice look to it. Looks like looks not dissimilar to a British cruiser in many ways. Obviously, it's got many shape differences and fundamental differences in things like hull construction and stuff. But yeah, a nice looking kit. So that's sort of what's happening in the news, which is it's really nice to see something come out that's not a Spitfire. It's really interesting, isn't it? Companies like Airfix put out so many Spitfires and say, well, the Spitfire always sells. And then you always get people commenting, oh no, not another Spitfire. So I don't know whether people, when a new Spitfire comes out, think, oh, this might be even better than the one I've built, so I'll get it because I love Spitfires, and build it because it'll perhaps be even better and even more detailed and even more realistic. And whether people are always constantly striving for the best version they can get. I could relate to that. I could understand why people would do that if that's the case. But otherwise, I don't get it, because I know there's lots of different marks, and some people perhaps want to have a Spitfire of each different mark in all three different scales or something like that, you know, if they're a real Spitfire enthusiast. But I don't really understand why Spitfires sell so phenomenally well as model companies make out they do. So if you are a Spitfire enthusiast, enlighten me in the comments below. Why do you want to continually buy Spitfires? Or, you know, do you not? Are some of you fed up with Spitfires? I know I am. I mean, I've got the 124 Spitfire from Airfix. For me, that's probably the most interesting Spitfire kit on the market, bar none. So I don't need any of the others, so I'm actually unloading all my other Spitfire kits that I've bought for sort of, oh, this is probably better than the one I've already got. So, you know, enlighten me. Why is it that we have so many Spitfires and they sell? Why is it? I'm interested in your thoughts, because I'm not sure I get it really. Anyway, I think that's enough for news. Let's talk about what's coming up in the week ahead. So, coming up in the week ahead, Monday, we've got our first impressions, an aircraft. This was an aircraft that before it was released I was enthusing about. I knew I was going to get it as soon as I was aware of its existence. It's an American aircraft, it's a bit quirky. We'll be doing that as a first impressions on Monday, and then on Wednesday we have a how-to guide for wooden ship modelers. I'm going to say nothing more than that, but if you're building the Sherborne you might be interested, but you also might not. I'm not going to be doing this on my Sherborne, but I could understand why one or two people might, so I'm going to show you how to do it if that's what you want to do. So we've got that coming along on Wednesday, and then hopefully, all things being equal, we'll have the first part of the Elizabethan build. I'm going to be editing that pretty much last minute, because although I've been building on it for a week, sanding parts doesn't produce a lot of video material, so that might be a slightly shorter video than usual, and you might be getting everything I've got, don't know. But in theory you're only getting Elizabethan in the next few Fridays. So we may end up doing a live stream where I build on a Friday night and do a live stream, and we chuck one of those in, just because I've got nothing build content to show you. We will see. But yeah, all things being equal, Elizabethan next Friday. But if there's only half an hour's worth of content, I might just do a live stream instead, and we can have a chat and you can watch me build the Elizabethan while we're talking, which is always really difficult. Building, keeping an eye on the chat, all that sort of stuff. We will see. But hopefully you'll get first part of the Elizabethan build. That is what's coming up next week. I do think that is everything for this week. Quite often I switch the camera off and go, oh, I didn't talk about that and I really wanted to. But racking my brains, I can't think of anything else. So all that remains is to say a massive thank you for the support. If you're a member or a subscriber, it's greatly appreciated, because I get a lovely, comfy, warm feeling from doing this. I enjoy doing it, you all know that. And we keep striving to improve things and do things that I think the subscribers will find interesting. I have got some things in my mind that I want to do in the future, so there's always new things coming up. So yeah, so 50 members, awesome. Thank you so much for supporting the channel in that way, and I do hope you really enjoy what you get out of it and the social group. And if you're a subscriber, thank you very much for the support, and keep coming back to watch my videos. All the comments, don't forget to hit a like button. It makes such a difference to the channel, and it costs you nothing, and it takes you less than a second. Do it right now before you forget, whilst it's on your mind. Right, have a really great week. I will see you very soon, and until the next time, you enjoy your modelling. Bye for now.